You came volunteering to answer that question. That's why you came. And now look what we're discussing. What do you affirm about God in His reality? Is God perfect? So all the sufferings that woman goes through, rape, for example, the torture they're suffering through, in your belief, God doesn't know the feeling that the woman is going through. Because He is not, He's never become a woman.
Can I answer now? Okay.
There's no need to answer. You've already answered it.
Yeah, that's what I was.
So God won't know unless He becomes a woman.
So God doesn't know unless He becomes a woman.
But God knows everything.
So God doesn't know unless He becomes a woman. Christ said, not according to my will, but according to your will. Tell me what this will means here. Okay, let's listen to it one more time.
I say we don't know.
Is it possible?
It's a possibility that we don't know.
Good. It's possible. That's what he's saying.
don't-
If you believe God is everlasting with no end, in your belief, can He cease to exist? Can He choose to cease to exist? So when God gives up His attributes of knowledge and keeps it locked, is He still knowledgeable?
Yes, no.
Listen, what
Can
I'm
God
saying is
knows
this:
how it feels
God
to be
doesn't have to
Mansur.
become an elephant to know how elephants feel. God has created feelings, all feelings, and He was aware of all of them. The question I ask about this: can your concept of God, who is eternal and everlasting with no end, cease to exist? No, you know very well, and it is affirmed in your heart and your mind, that you will never accept a God to worship who chooses to cease to exist and there is no God, and yet He's supposed to be everlasting. You will say, this is totally nonsensical.
I love you, Allah.
I just came in. I heard that you were talking about Jesus not knowing.
He said only the Father knows.
Only the Father knows. So, the only thing I can say about it is that it would be a logical contradiction if Jesus said He knows this hour. Because this hour is the hour of God. It's the hour which is in the infinite. But Jesus was in the finite. So in the finite, you cannot grasp something which is infinite. So that's why He said only the Father.
We're not talking about the human Jesus. We're talking about the eternal Jesus who is eternally God. That's a particular person we're
This
talking about.
statement was made when He was on earth. That's what He said.
No, but we clarified, because he came late, let me clarify this. Philippians 2 says He emptied Himself. The eternal Son who is divine in your belief, what did He empty Himself of?
So,
According to Philippians 2.
which is more the fullness of His nature. So now, can I just explain to you how we understand God? It's going to be easy.
But before you understand,
No, no,
do
to
you
grasp-
see the
no, the
question that I'm
question
asking?
of- yeah,
You shouldn't explain, no problem. But first explain, in Philippians 2, in what way is the eternal divine Son emptying Himself?
So it's going to be easy if I tell you how you need to first understand the relationship between God, the eternal God, and Jesus. Jesus is the manifestation of this eternal God on earth. Okay?
Jesus the flesh.
No, let me finish.
I'm asking you to clarify.
It's going to be clear. So Jesus is a manifestation of this eternal God on earth. So the Son of God, who's called the Word of God, is manifested in the flesh. So the reality where we live in is a finite reality. Okay? Let's assume it is a four-dimensional reality where we live in. So the only way God, who is infinite, can manifest in the finite is in the form of projection of his aspect. That's what we call his persona. Okay, his persona. I'm sure you know it because you are very knowledgeable. So his
Projection of his.
So his persona. So his persona is an aspect of himself that he wants to show, or which is perceived. So imagine that this infinite God has to be come in the finite, so he interact with finite. So the only way he can interact with finite is by this projection of his persona, which what we call the Word, Jesus in the flesh. So when Jesus said he doesn't know the hour, because if he has said that he knows the hour, it would be a contradiction. Why? Why? Because let's say, I give you a simple example. Let's say if I take a stone and I throw, I'm not going to throw at you. Let's say I throw a stone at you, and I tell you this stone is going to reach you in pi second. Let's say pi is the number, 3.14. In pi second, this stone is going to reach you. Can you tell me exactly when this stone is going to reach you?
I'm not answering that question, but carry on.
No, you understand what I mean? So can you tell me exactly?
I don't see any relevance to that.
It's very relevant.
So I would like you to explain. Go ahead. You answer the question.
Okay. For sure, it's not easy to answer. In fact, you can never be able to tell me exactly when the stone is going to reach you, because the pi being an
It will hit me.
you know that it's going to reach you at one point.
It will.
At some point.
That's my.
Exactly, but you don't know exactly when. Why? Because this number is a definite number, definite digit. So when Jesus says he doesn't know the hour, it's because he's in the finite. He cannot. It's like explaining something which is infinite. So he says only the God who is out of time, out of our reality, knows it. So in fact, that's what Jesus is saying by this statement, and it would be a logical contradiction if he said he knows. Can I add something else? So
can I respond to that one before you continue? Are you saying in the New Testament Jesus speaks as a human being only, not in the flesh, never speaks as God?
In fact, Jesus Christ
Is that what you're saying?
Jesus Christ came to fulfill the law. What was said in the Old Testament to fulfill the law. So he was talking as a human being because he is manifested in flesh. So he had this limitation. That's what Philippians says, is limiting himself by manifesting in the finite. By default, is limiting himself.
So now, so you've answered the question. Jesus Christ always speaks as a human, finite creation.
I didn't say always speak. I say most of the time. I don't know all sentences
So
of the
when
Bible.
do you determine when he speaks as God and when he speaks as a human? In fact, when Jesus speaks,
When he says to the man, I have sinned,
clarify
I've
this
forgiven
point.
you.
How many will does this body Jesus possess, the human body possess?
I know more than two.
More than two. So Jesus has a human will and a divine will.
In fact,
Is that what you're saying?
depending on how you define will, let's say we as human beings, how many wills do you think we have?
Human being has one will. That's what constitutes a human.
What is the definition of will?
No, without going into semantics.
No, but it's very important to know what is the will. Because let's say I can
Tell me one thing. Can you have a human being without a will? Can anyone be a human without a human will? Do all humans have to possess a human will?
Yes, the will.
So,
This is not my
so
question.
if you
My
are,
question is, you ask how many wills do we have?
before you continue, so as a human being, you must have a human will, otherwise you're not human. Good. Jesus Christ incarnated into a human body. This human must have a human will. As a divine person, does he have a will as well? So you have a divine will and a human will. So how many will did this body possess? One or two?
Let's answer. In fact, the reason why you are confused.
I'm confused asking
Okay.
the question.
The reason why you are confused is that in fact
Allow me to.
this God, okay, sorry, this God, okay, God that let's say right now we are speaking. I'm sure he's happy with what I'm saying. He may not happy with you. He may not be happy with you. He may be happy with someone else not happy. God may be talking at the same time to an angel in heaven. He may be talking to a principality. He may be saying something at the same time. Okay? So God by definition, if you're talking about will, God by definition, based on our understanding of will, he has many wills. Because it would be absurd to say God doesn't know what I'm saying here, doesn't know he's maybe talking to an angel, maybe doing anything at the same time. Okay? So that's why I wanted to clarify what you mean by will. So, based on what I see, Jesus Christ has, you say he has two natures, human and divine. So, in fact, he has two. He has, I will not say two as that, he has more than two. That's what I can say.
So basically, all the controversy in the early Christianity, how many wills Jesus possessed, you are one of those heretical sects. The Orthodox Christians, as far as I know, correctly, Orthodox Christians believe Jesus has one will. He doesn't
That's
have
what you
two
need
wills.
to tell me. What
So
you
I'm
understand by
asking you-
will? How many will does God have?
We're talking
How
about.
many will does God have?
I'm simplifying for
getting
you.
lost
There is a
here.
divine will.
He's
Yes,
trying-
I'll
he's
come back to
trying-
this
he's
point.
trying to-
No, God is
Can I make
outside
my
of
point?
time. So when you put in
The
time,
divine has a divine will, right?
How many will does God have?
The divine has a divine will.
No, answer my question. How many will does God have?
God is one God has one will.
Are you sure about that?
Absolutely.
How do you know?
Because there's one God and there has one will.
Let's say God
Can I clarify my
is
point?
happy
Can I clarify
and
my
not
point?
happy at the same time.
Do you know what I mean by
talking,
will?
Not talking at the same time.
You mean will means, my intention. Sometimes I intend to be okay.
Okay,
No,
define now
I
will.
mean will is what? That you possess something of to act upon. Your intention.
Possess something of
An ability to act.
I'll define it. It's ego.
Okay. An ability.
who are you? Are you asking my question?
Do not go into confusion.
Okay, so don't let the discussion continue.
The discussion is this: the divine, in however way when it becomes happy or sad or angry, he has a divine will. However, that
How
is
many is
manifest.
how many is
Look, the divine possesses will, right?
how many will?
Excuse me. Does the divine possess a will?
He's not
he
happy.
possesses a will.
Look at, he's not happy. Let's
just
say
told
he's
you.
happy with me now. He's not happy over there. How many
where
will
you
you
get
have?
lost is you are trying to
when-
put God
when
into time.
Christ
That's
said-
what he's trying to
Operates
do.
out of
When
time.
Christ said-
That's
He's
what he's
seeing
trying
me
to
When
do.
now.
Christ said,
He's seeing Moses.
not
he's
according to
seeing
my
David.
will, but according to your will.
So that he's talking about the divine will.
One
that
moment,
place.
one moment. Christ said, not according to my will, but according to your will. Tell me what this will means here.
It's a divine will
How
that
many?
brought him.
How many divine wills?
He came for a purpose.
I don't want to know your
No,
purpose.
you are interrupting
How
what
many
I'm
wills?
saying.
Is this how you
He's talking
take
about
over the
the
discussion
will.
in some
I'm
interruptions?
saying to the one.
He's talking
got the one
about
will.
when
Amir.
he came.
Is Amir?
How did
Your name Amir?
when he was coming, he has a mission. And the mission was established by who? By this infinite reality God. That's what he's talking about. So he came for a mission. Imagine, it's like, let me finish.
Before you finish,
give me
before you-
two, no, it's
No,
very
let me
important
tell
that
you.
I clarify
Before
this.
you finish, which I will give you the chance to finish.
No, I clarify this in 2 minutes.
One moment.
No, it's going to be clear.
No,
It's
no,
going to be clear.
no. One moment.
It's going to be clear.
How long do you think it's been here in the discussion?
5 minutes.
5-10 minutes, right. The question that you're supposed to answer, the reason why you keep
I
on...
will come back to the point I want to make.
Excuse me, please. This is why I say you're not actually dealing with the subject now. The question I asked the lady Denise here was what? No, you haven't. The question I asked about this. Can your concept of God, who is eternal and everlasting with no end, cease to exist? You came to volunteer
I was not there.
Excuse me,
so-
no,
That's
excuse
what
me.
I'm saying.
You came volunteering to answer that question. That's why you came. And now look what we're discussing. We've gone to every single other tangent.
Based on what you say,
No,
that's
excuse me.
why we-
No. Every
can
single
come
other
back to
tangent.
what I said.
So now, let me ask you once more. And then we can go to the other subject. If you believe God is everlasting with no end, in your belief, can he cease to exist? Can he choose to cease to exist?
Okay, in fact,
If you answer, then I can go to Denise.
can you give me time to answer without saying right thing?
I didn't say yes or no. Answer with explanation if necessary.
Okay, in fact, it would be a logical contradiction based on the law that God gave us in that realm. When God created that realm, He created according to certain law, according to certain thing that He did. Now, if He had to do that in that realm, it would be a logical contradiction. But nothing is telling us that God doesn't have the power to discard everything already created and do things differently than we know now. So that's why we as Christians, we say God can do anything. It's simply, we are not saying that He can do it in that realm. That realm is already defined. This is how God established it. That's why it would be a logical contradiction for Him to do that in that realm. But God, as God, He could erase this and create a different logic, different way of thinking, and He could be able to do that. You
So
understand?
now
my point?
summarize your answer and say, in your concept of God, in His reality, can He choose to cease to exist?
In the reality that He created now,
Not the reality He created. In His reality, can He choose to cease to exist?
the reality that we're talking about, the reality that
Not our
He
reality.
creates
Not
now.
our reality. in God's reality, can He choose to cease to exist?
This is something that we do not
He
know.
can choose to put
you know,
it
you know,
aside.
you know what?
He
Because
can choose.
the
Denise.
Bible
Put it
says, the Bible
aside.
says,
Denise.
the things
You and I
revealed to
can't choose
us
to not
belong to
exist.
us, but
I
the
hear.
secret things
You
belong to
know,
God.
you know very well.
that he can't
You-
choose
no.
to be nothing.
No, you know very well, and it is affirmed in your heart and your mind
Yes.
that you will never accept a God to worship who chooses to cease to exist and there is no God, and yet He's supposed to be everlasting. You will say, you will say,
Our
you will
reality
say,
is not
you will
possible.
say,
That's what I was trying to
this
say.
is totally nonsensical.
I agree with you.
Yes. So instead of
But what I'm
going
saying
with
is
your
that-
semantics of
but it's like
logic,
you didn't
Hear me
understand
now.
what I
But
said.
can
You didn't
God
understand
choose
at all.
to
Did
give
you
up?
understand what I said?
Can
I
He
said-
give
I
up
understand what I
and
said,
put
but you
aside
didn't understand
and
what I
come
just
into
said.
another form?
Let me-
Because
let me-
so this is what I want you to answer. I've
the
answered
reason-
you. I've answered you and I've said no.
My sister,
reason-
the answer I gave him is very clear. In the reality that God created, this is impossible
You have to
Why is
answer
it
him
impossible?
in His way.
because this is the law, the way He created logic.
so
in
can
this
God
reality.
create another reality in which He can cease to exist?
We don't. It's possible, but we don't know.
Okay,
God
good.
can
Stop. So you're saying God can logically create a reality in which He can cease to exist.
in the reality that we don't know about.
Let's
In the
take-
logic that we don't know.
That's exactly what you're saying. So basically, you're saying you affirm God is everlasting with no end. That being,
Based
can
on
I
the
finish my?
based on the knowledge of we know
Can
in
I-
this
can I
reality.
finish? Can I finish?
That's what I wanted to make sure that you
Can
understand my
I? Can I
point.
finish my point?
Based on our logic now.
Can I finish my point?
Go ahead.
Right. What do you affirm about God in His reality? Is God perfect?
Based on what based on what He revealed to us. I was stating a Bible verse. Maybe you didn't
So it's
understand.
possible
Can I-
then-
Can I just answer this? The Bible says the God, the things belong, the hidden thing belong to God, and the thing revealed to us belong to us, so that we believe. So things that are hidden, you are asking questions that are hidden. So these belong to God. We are talking about the reality that He created. In that reality, we have our logic, our consciousness. This is why we are having this discussion. But the question you're asking is a different reality question. I cannot answer that based on that statement of the Bible, because this is a thing that was not revealed to us. Do you understand?
So look, nice semantics played here.
It's
But
the
what
Bible
you need
verse.
to, look, what you need
You want me
to,
to
what
show
you need
the
to
Bible
understand is
verse?
this.
Now you're refusing to say so.
If you affirm from this reality, that means it's possible in another reality, God is actually 20 million, right? In your
20
belief.
million?
In your belief,
20 million years? 20 million gods.
gods.
Oh, 20 million gods.
In your belief, because you only know a one set of reality, which is not actually real reality, because it's possible there's another reality where God is actually 20
I
million.
can only talk about things that I know.
One moment.
I can only talk about things that I know.
Your logical conclusion is this. I can only talk about what God has revealed here. In fact, God could be a God who has a mother. In
our reality, God is one.
You're not listening, are you?
He is one.
You're not listening, are you?
Okay, so you have to be clear.
I want you
Don't-
to listen.
Don't twist.
I want.
Listen clearly.
No, you're not listening.
But you know the reason why I do
Sorry,
that.
sorry.
In some of the videos, they edit the videos. That's why.
No, again.
I assume they're not going to
You see the
edit.
videos?
If this
Some
is,
of the videos they edit.
look.
That's why I'm doing this.
Look.
I want you to be
Oh,
clear.
I
Very
see.
interesting how instead of
see.
discussing this in a logical way, you come up with an excuse saying, "Oh, you edit your videos."
No, let's see Dawah edit the video. I can prove it.
So SC Dawah, Sam Dawah, and others, they edit the videos, right?
can
Good.
prove it.
So we will ask you proof later what they edited. Good. Now let's return to the subject. In your reality here, you believe God is a 3-in-1 God. That's what 3-in-1.
3 in 1.
But
No,
in
that's
the
what-
reality of God, which He hasn't told you, it's possible God has a mother who is also another God. One moment. Why are you saying I'm talking about this reality? Don't you understand what I'm saying? I'm not talking about this reality which God has revealed to you. The hidden realities which God hasn't revealed to you, it is possible, according to your arguments, that God has a mother and God worships that mother. Yeah?
You want me to answer that?
Yes, please.
Okay, I say the reality that God revealed to us,
Forget
which
this
is
reality.
manifested.
Forget this
Talking
reality.
about this.
But I'm not talking about this reality.
But
Did you hear
I
me?
cannot. Did you hear the verses I gave you?
But did you hear my question?
Bible
My
verses
question
here,
is not to
we
do with
cannot
this reality.
speculate on things that we don't know.
I didn't ask you about this. I said
He's
not
trying to
about.
move me
Excuse me,
away
listen.
from what the
I am not
scriptures-
talking about this
scriptures
reality.
say.
This reality.
But that's what I'm talking about.
You.
I'm talking about
remember.
this reality
Remember what
that
you
God
said.
created.
Remember the question I asked. In this reality, God cannot cease to exist, according to his arguments.
For sure.
But in another reality, God can.
No, I say. Listen carefully.
Okay, let's listen
said-
one more time.
I say we don't know.
Is it possible?
It's a possibility that we don't know.
Good. It's possible. That's what he's
We
saying.
don't know.
Excuse me. Listen.
You know what
when
I-
you say it's possible, do you know what it means?
I said.
What does
the
it mean
reality
it's possible?
of God that
It's
we-
possible
we
that he
have
can
no
cease to exist.
idea of- Let's say before we
Okay.
existed.
Let me ask
or
you
after
again.
we do not
Let me ask you
We have
again.
no idea
Excuse
what
me.
is going to happen.
Let me ask you again.
No idea, and we
Excuse
don't
me.
speculate on
Listen,
that.
listen. To discuss it with fruitful, I
Can
want to
that
ask
which
you.
was never created
In the other hidden
cease to
realities, in your arguments, is it possible that he can cease to exist?
I tell you no.
So,
I know that.
I
I know that. I agree with you.
sister,
I
my
tell
sister,
I agree with you.
my sister, the
Here,
logic.
who
I
came
tell
to
you.
tell you a total different belief system?
My sister.
But
So-
listen, I
one
tell
moment,
you
one
no.
moment.
I,
from
I
what
agree.
I answered your question. I don't know why you are still coming
so
back
now,
to that.
can you
I
answer
said-
Denise? Is it possible in other hidden realities that he can cease to exist if he chooses to?
You're asking me? You're asking me?
To answer Denise.
Because I said, I
Okay,
don't think a God who
my-
never was created.
My sister,
Yes.
my sister.
Yes, go ahead. Tell me
Okay,
where
God
I'm
created us in that reality with our logic, with our intelligence, and with everything that exists. And this is what we know. And He revealed Himself to us based on the way He is. Okay? So if God decides one day to erase everything He did and do something totally different, we have no idea of. That's why the Bible says the hidden things belong to God. We don't speculate on that. Mansur wants me to speculate on this kind of hidden reality. So Mansur, I gave you the Bible verse. I will
you
not
answer the question?
speculate. I answered the question. I will not
So
speculate.
is it
on
possible?
That. I already answered that. You
Okay.
can. You
So
can
you're
rewind,
saying, okay,
you
let me
can
let
rewind
me
the
tell you
video.
what I've heard.
I already answered that.
Excuse
You
me,
want me
listen.
to repeat
Let me
again?
tell you what I've
I already
heard.
answered.
Your answer is, I'm not going to speculate because I don't know. Isn't that what he said?
Yeah.
Good. So when I asked you about question about can God cease to exist in your belief if he chooses to, he says what? Before, yes, possible. When you say possible, it means
Don't
excuse me,
paraphrase what I didn't say.
excuse me, excuse me.
I said in a reality that God
Excuse
created,
me.
it's impossible.
Excuse me. In other realities, you would say it's possible. That's what you said earlier on.
I said another reality.
That we don't know about.
We don't know.
Yes,
We don't
that's
know,
what he said.
We don't
That's
know
what he
the
said.
hidden thing belongs
That's
to
what he
God.
said.
We have
That's what
no
he said.
idea
Yes,
of it.
and that's why you disagreed with him and I disagreed with him. Because ceasing to exist means what? A being that ceases to exist is not an eternal, everlasting being.
See,
Okay.
this is where I have to tell my brother here. In all honesty, like I said, I'm not here to argue. I said it right in the beginning. Where you're right, I will tell you. Where I know, I know. I don't know everything. But from what God says about himself, the one who, Alpha and Omega, beginning, no end, beginning and no end.
But he
said so.
entertains end.
He said, and that's where I'm going. By what he said, I have no beginning and I have no end. Right. Therefore, in that
So let's-
light, I have to answer you and say, he has no end.
Good.
Yes.
Does
So far-
it mean that he
now-
can't end it?
now,
I don't know.
I agree with you.
In what he communicated
So
to
I
us
agree with you,
now.
Denise.
That's what I'm saying.
Now,
You know,
because
in what we
in this
communicated
reality,
to us
Yes.
now.
why is it not possible for God to cease to exist in this reality, in this realm?
In this realm.
Yeah.
How he doesn't.
It would be a logical contradiction. It
No,
would
no,
be
no,
a
no,
logical contradiction.
no. Where we started from?
That's what he said.
Where we started
Cannot
from.
sustain.
And I want you to remember, I said, to give up is not to say you don't exist. It's to take another form. And that's where we got stuck. And I said, no.
I'm not saying about giving up. I'm saying being non-existent.
When I said to you, that doesn't happen.
Why not is the question.
Because he said, because it's illogical. He said,
Illogical?
because it would be illogical for what he said.
Illogical? Good.
Illogical.
Illogical. Okay,
Illogical.
let's understand what you mean by
Yeah.
illogical.
But that doesn't mean he can't give up.
Please. No,
And
not
come
giving
to
up.
the earth.
Let's understand your reasonings now
Yes.
of not accepting God ceasing to exist. It's because God is everlasting with no end. It's illogical to say he can have an end, right?
Because he said so.
Good. If you're all knowledgeable, meaning you know everything all the time, all
Yes.
future,
Yes.
it's illogical not to know.
No, it isn't. Because if I give up my right to know, and I have a right, and I say don't want to be equal with you, I want to come down here, I give it up, that's not illogical. Because I still exist, but I exist in human form. I haven't gone away.
Your answer is very good. I'll ask you a question.
Do you know God has some essential attributes?
Hang on,
Name me some of the essential and non-essential
But you
attributes of
see,
God.
you always ask me questions, you never answer. When you're right, I say to you, you're right.
Look.
So I say, answer me. Can you agree that he can give up his deity, whatever it is he gave up in Philippians read, and come as a human being? And he's still in existence. Does that constitute?
My answer is, a perfect God can never be other than perfect. The moment he becomes imperfect, he was imperfect to begin with. A God who is unknowledgeable, by definition, can never be less than unknowledgeable. If you have a being that becomes less than unknowledgeable, they were not unknowledgeable to begin with. They were not unknowledgeable to begin with.
So, let me explain to you about the Joseph aspect. Let me explain to you about the Joseph aspect.
We're not going to go to Joseph.
No. Because this is about the imperfect.
God, about Jesus.
Because your imperfectness, you are mixing up the word imperfect.
Sorry?
Perfect. You are not understanding that to give up my deity does not make me imperfect. The imperfectness is because of the sin of Adam that came through. That's why he didn't have Joseph as his father.
What makes God
because
perfect?
Of the lineage.
What makes God perfect?
He is.
No. You said.
He is.
You remember what you said, Denise?
Yes.
God can give up his attributes of perfection.
Yes.
So which attributes of perfection can he give up? You are saying God's attributes, are they perfect to begin with?
Yes.
Good. So if he gives up his attributes, are they still perfect?
The attributes are still perfect, yes.
If he gives them up.
Yes, the attributes are still perfect.
So
to give up doesn't mean the attributes become
so
imperfect.
God can separate himself from his attributes.
Yes, he
in your
gave up.
belief.
He gave up. Yes, he gave
So
up.
you are saying we have a God
Yes.
who exists
Yes.
with his attributes which are inherent within him, but he can actually give up his attributes.
Oh, he's already done that.
Yeah? And it makes sense to you.
Yes, it makes sense. Because,
So God is so loving. Let me
because-
bring this example again.
Everything you say is
He
Let me-
had to come down into
Please,
a
please. Let me
finite world.
bring this
And
example again.
Infinity does not exist.
So you have
here.
God who is, one of the attributes of God is loving, right? Loving.
But it's
Loving. So God can give up his attributes of love and become less than loving.
Okay.
Yeah?
So
One
the
moment.
sister
One moment.
Okay, finish.
God, according to your belief, can give up his attribute of love and be less than or loving.
You showed me in Philippians. Not less than loving. No, you see, you're
But you
equating.
said so, you can.
No, my brother.
So he cannot.
No, my brother. No. Now listen to me carefully. Cameras, listen to me. To give up your attributes does not mean that they are imperfect or they are unlovely or unlovely. To give them up means nothing of that. If I give up my child, doesn't mean that I'm unloving or uncaring. There's a reason.
Maybe-
No.
maybe you didn't understand my
No,
point.
I understood because you are equating
What does it mean
giving
giving
up.
up?
Can I
You are
ask
giving
you
up.
What does it
mean
You
giving
are
up?
saying, I am not going to bring this with me.
What does it mean
here.
giving up?
It means I'm leaving them there and I'm not bringing them to earth with me.
So for example,
They're still lovely.
Wait,
They're still perfect.
wait.
They're still good. No, I want
Denise,
to know, but let me
Denise.
finish also now. Come on.
I want to understand giving up.
No. So that's what I'm saying. Understand it from me and then I'll hear from you. To give up doesn't mean they become rotten, bad, ugly, anything. No. I have given them up there because it is unjust and unfair and I cannot be equitable to you. If I come in as a God with all my knowledge, then I cannot be your brother. I cannot be your savior. I cannot be you because I am.
Let me clarify.
You know what? I
When you
have
say-
full knowledge.
When you say giving up, imagine now I am a person.
Okay.
Denise, listen. I'm a person, I possess an attribute of love. So if I give up my attribute of love and I leave it there in a box, locked with a key, now can I still love someone if I give up and locked it?
You in the flesh, no.
Right. So when God gives up his attributes of knowledge and keeps it locked, is he still knowledgeable?
Yes, no. When God gives that up, He has given up that aspect of omniscience.
Right. So at that point, when he has given up his knowledge and locked it somewhere inaccessible, that means he has no longer knowledge.
But He has
Access to
come
knowledge.
with the attributes
One moment.
that Adam had before the fall.
Slow down, please. Let's talk about the attribute of love and knowledge. So God gives up, according to you, in your language, say he gives up in a box and he locks it with a key, right? So now his knowledge is locked up in that box. Is he still knowledgeable?
About what?
Anything.
Everything.
Everything.
Anything. Because remember, his knowledge is now locked away. Is he still knowledgeable?
But where is he now when he's locked it up? Where is he?
You are the ones.
No.
Sister,
Where is
sister,
he?
please.
Because you're refusing to say.
Okay, let me tell you.
Take it the next step. He has given
let
it
me
up
take you.
and taken
God,
flesh.
God the Father.
Tell me.
God the Father.
Tell me he has given it up and taken flesh. You can't leave him hanging in limbo.
I'm telling
He has
you,
given
I'm
up
telling you.
and taken flesh. So ask me,
In
as flesh.
The Father.
He didn't stand in limbo.
The Father
Yes.
is in heaven, right?
The Father is in heaven.
You believe he can separate his attributes from him and give it up. That's what you believe. Imagine now in heaven, imagine for the sake of argument,
Stay it.
he gives up his attributes of knowledge, locks up with a key. Now, still in heaven. He's in heaven. His knowledge is locked up in a box. Is he still knowledgeable about anything?
Can I
Because
help
he's
you?
not in
Denise,
heaven.
You are
He's not
avoiding,
heaven.
you are
He's
avoiding
not
me,
in
Mansur.
heaven. No, he's not
I
in
could
heaven.
answer that, you are
He's not
avoiding
in
me.
heaven.
You
He's
have
not
your
in
chance,
heaven.
don't worry.
Once he's giving
So-
it up, there's a purpose for giving up.
Excuse
It's not
me.
for fun.
So,
It's not for fun that he's giving
no,
it up.
please.
He's giving
When
up.
he gives up,
when
is he
I
still
undress,
knowledgeable?
it's because I'm going to put something on. Okay? So I have given it up for a purpose, and I put on flesh. So talk to me. He's not in heaven.
I am not
giving
discussing
up.
the purpose.
No,
I
but
am
it
saying,
has a purpose.
of course.
Of course.
God doesn't do anything without a purpose.
course.
Good. That's a given thing.
Yes.
So now, when God, in your belief, locks up his knowledge in a box, is he still knowledgeable about anything?
But he takes on a few.
And the power of God. Okay? So God, in fact, as I explained when we started, Jesus is the manifestation of God in the finite. Okay? So that's why we said he limited himself in the finite. Okay? And I explained to you why, based on the time, why Jesus could not know the time, because it would be a logical contradiction. So saying that God's knowledge is stopped to exist, no, his knowledge is always there. It's a question of logical contradiction. For example, there is I'm sure you know that some people can say, can God create a stone so heavy that he cannot lift?
It's not a question.
What is it?
It's a nonsensical statement.
Exactly. So
I asked you a question. I didn't ask you a nonsensical statement. That's the
Okay.
difference. So answer my question.
Now the point is, can God know, since we're talking about knowledge, can God know how it feels to be the devil?
I didn't ask you that question. Answer my question first.
You know why you cannot answer that? Because
I'm not
it is
entertaining
a
your-
logical
Listen.
contradiction.
Again
So,
and
the
again,
knowledge of
instead
God
of
is also logical.
Okay, let me answer this so-called question you asked.
Answer now, yeah.
Can God ask me again?
Can
God
God
feel?
feel how it feels to be Satan?
Sure. So Satan has some kind of feeling, right? How is it? So God, are you saying in his knowledge, he doesn't know how it feels to be Satan?
No, I'm asking you a question and you bring
no,
me back
that's
to
what you're asking, right?
Answer my question.
Can God know? So when you say know or feel, which one?
Can God know how it feels to be Satan?
Right. So if God is the creator of all feelings, then yes, of course he knows.
How can he know how it feels to be Satan?
Because he created Satan,
if
and
he
he knows
has
how
never
Satan.
been Satan.
Listen, because he created Satan, he knows all the feelings because he's the creator of all feelings. So how Satan goes about in his feelings, he's aware of it.
So God has already been Satan to feel that. That's what you're telling
Listen,
me.
what
Can
I'm
God
saying is
knows
this:
how it feels
God
to be
doesn't have to
Mansur.
become an elephant to know how elephants feel. God has created feelings, all feelings, and he was aware of all of them.
So God knows how it feels to be Satan.
Whether how Satan feels or human beings
So
feel.
can it be Satan? Can God be Satan?
Different question. Now, can God be Satan, right? What is Satan? A creation. So now you're asking a totally nonsensical question.
It become nonsensical.
Let me ask you, can God become non-God? The answer is,
So how can he feels how can he know how to feel how it feels to be
Becoming
Satan?
and feeling is
wait.
different.
Let me finish. How can he know
What's your
how
name?
it feels
What's
to
your
be
name?
Rafael?
Raphael.
How can he know how it feels to be Satan
I just
if
told
he
you.
has never been Satan?
I just told you.
He doesn't
It's
need
God.
to
never-
Okay.
He has-
Let me make it simple.
How God
Does God know how it feels to be human without becoming human?
In Jesus Christ, yes.
Can God know how it, in your belief, does God know
Okay.
how it feels to be a woman without becoming a
Okay,
woman?
now listen.
No, I'm not going to listen to anything else.
You have to listen how I answer this
Rafael,
question
Rafael.
first. I already answered this.
In
Listen
your
carefully.
belief, does God know how it feels to be a woman?
Are you gonna let me answer?
Yes.
Are you gonna let me answer? Okay. God when God created things, He relinquished some of His power. He relinquished it by creating us. Let's say the question that we asked, by creating us as human being. I'm answering your question, so you have to listen carefully. By creating us, He relinquished some of His power. Right now, God says, Satan is doing that. I can no longer do that because I am not Satan. So that's how God is relinquishing some of His power by creation. So He relinquishes, and that's what Philippians is saying. Okay? So God, since it's like you telling me, can God knows how to feel to be Satan or to cease to exist? These are questions that become illogical based on what God created as His universe. Is no longer possible. So that's why I told you, God cannot know how it feels to be Satan unless He decides to be Satan. So that's how you answer that question, because it is not a logical question. It is an illogical question. You understand what I mean? So
enough introduction to answer the question.
I already answered your question.
Pause. How can you
There
aspire
are
to be
certain
higher
times
than yourself?
I leave the discussion with individuals who are really using this phenomenon. I asked you which question did I ask? That you answered now, in 2 minutes or so.
You are supposed to answer my question.
No. The question that I asked that you are answering, what was the question that you answered?
Ask about women.
Rafael, what was it? He's already giving you a reminder. What was the question that I asked that you answered?
Okay, can you repeat your question?
I forgot the question already.
In fact, it's a question of God knowledge. Okay, and what I was telling you is that God knowledge, in terms of Jesus Christ, in terms of human being, in terms of the manifested things, God knowledge is limited because He has to be that manifested being.
How can you say God knowledge is limited?
One moment, brother.
He has to be.
The question I asked you was this.
Satan's
In your belief, does God know how it feels to be a woman?
God doesn't know how to feel. He has to be a woman.
So only God knows how it feels. So basically, how the woman falls going through childbirth, pregnancy.
Okay.
What? Let me finish.
Okay, finish. And I know what you're talking about. Finish first.
So all these sufferings that woman goes through, rape, for example, the torture they're suffering through. In your belief, God doesn't know the feeling that the woman is going through because He is not. He's never become a woman.
Can I answer now? Okay.
There's no need to answer. You've already answered it.
Yeah, that's what I was trying. My sister, that's what I was trying to answer using the manifested word. Because God, by creation, relinquished some of His attributes. That by default. You need to be. So let's say I can know what women feel. Women feels. I can think about. I can think about it. I will never be able to know exactly unless I become a woman.
So God won't know unless He becomes a woman.
Exactly
So God doesn't know unless He becomes a woman.
But God knows everything.
So God doesn't know unless He becomes a woman.
That's what I'm saying. There are
You
certain
don't know
things.
everything. He knows
There are
everything.
certain things that
So
are
can I
logical
get from our Christian
contradiction
friend,
in terms
Rafael?
of knowledge and
So-
in terms of
so
power.
Rafael, as I've
That's
understood
what I'm
now-
trying to put it through.
Let me.
Certain things are
No, I've
logical
understood.
contradiction in terms of
Stop.
knowledge
Rafael,
and in terms of power.
I've understood now.
Okay.
So God, in fact, doesn't know most of the things because He hasn't become those things. So, like for example, how an ant feels when it's squashed, God has no knowledge about it. How a woman
who
goes
said
through
to Eve,
the
you shall have
torture of
pain in
rape.
childbirth?
Let me-
Who said you shall have pain in childbirth? It wasn't God.
Excuse me, please. In your belief, God doesn't know how it feels to be tortured, maimed, killed, raped. God doesn't mean how it, insulted.
How does He know how He feels?
Can I finish? As you said,
The
clearly,
question is very simple.
because God has never become for example, a tree. He doesn't know how it feels when the tree's leaf is plucked. He has no understanding of it. He has no knowledge of it. It's a question of knowledge. So, in fact, you're giving me a very interesting picture of a God where God is not even knowledgeable about anything.
doesn't know anything.
In our belief,
He has to become
God,
that thing.
in
To
our
know
belief-
that
You're
thing.
gonna let me speak?
No.
Okay, finish.
Before we go into this, because the discussion was about the very nature of
I'm not understanding.
Tell him
Let
to
me
stop.
understand him first.
Tell
So
him to
God has
stop.
to
brother.
God has to become
Let
that
him have a
thing
word.
to
Let him also
realize.
have a word.
No, I'm
You
just
are
asking.
Everybody has a
the
turn.
conversation.
What are you saying?
He knows
No, he
what
was
he's
there for
talking
a
So,
long time.
Christ, in your belief, was God to begin with, but somehow He limited Himself. when we ask, what do you mean by limiting himself? You go into all these tangents about other possible worlds and so on, right? When I ask, how can the unknowledgeable...
You remember what I said?
Let me, I'm summarizing some points because I'm going to end this discussion in maybe in 5 minutes maximum. You're saying, in your belief, God can become non-God and still be God. God can be infinite to begin with, become finite and still remain infinite. Let me ask you...
Did I say that? Did I say that?
Let me clarify. Let me clarify.
Remember, he's not
You know, he's twisting what I said.
You
You are
said
doing that for the
you
soundbite,
said-
right? You are doing that for the
Take the
soundbite.
camera away and have our discussion. Sit down, okay? Is he really think I do for soundbite?
No, but don't say what I didn't say. Did I say that?
What you believe, correct me if I'm wrong.
What I said is on
Excuse me.
camera.
One moment.
Right? Unless
Correct
you're going to
me,
edit it.
I'm
what I said is on
summarizing.
camera. Don't say what I didn't say. Come on.
Rafael, do you know what summary is?
But don't say what I didn't
Do you know
say.
what summary-
Summarize what I said.
Okay,
Not what
correct
I
me then.
didn't say, right?
Do you believe the eternally knowledgeable Son of God, who is God in his perfection, became less with his divine attributes and took a human flesh of something like ignorance, weakness, and yet still remained perfect?
Can I answer that?
No, not answering it. Is that
You
correct?
don't want me to answer?
No, is that correct in my
Emptied
summary?
himself.
No, is this correct? Is
But
my summary correct?
Did I answer that question? How Jesus
Did
as
you
a
hear my
manifestation
summary?
But-
Is my summary correct or incorrect?
You could say wrong, yes.
Okay.
Can you answer that first and then move on?
I answered this in the beginning. Maybe you forgot that.
Can you first say, is my summary correct or wrong?
It's incorrect.
Summary
Okay,
is correct
now
about
tell us
Jesus.
again, tell us again in
It's
summary,
incorrect.
why is it incorrect?
Okay. It depends on how you understand God, and I come back. God is an infinite reality God. And this infinite reality God is manifested in a finite in Jesus Christ. Okay? It manifests in a finite. So by manifesting himself in a finite is a limitation because he's manifesting in a four-dimension, assumed four-dimension reality. So he's limiting himself by that manifestation. Okay? So you understand?
So far,
clearly?
my summary is correct so far. Carry on.
Okay, so now he limited himself in Jesus as a man in flesh. So that's what we are talking about. So everything you're going to say has to be within that context. So the infinite reality God manifested in a finite through Jesus. And I gave the idea of projection in four dimensions.
Infinite God, when he was manifested in a created thing, like a created body, was he still infinite?
When he was
God
manifested.
is, Jesus wasn't.
When the infinite occupied,
I know
Rafael.
clearly.
Jesus.
Rafael, when the
Jesus.
infinite occupied a finite body, was he still infinite?
When Jesus
He is
occupied.
infinite outside. He is as I said, can I show you the definition of persona?
Slow. No. I'm not going interested in your personas. I asked you this
Because
question.
that's what we say.
You are saying
Why are you not saying Jesus?
That God
Why are you
became
not
Jesus.
saying
because Jesus is a worshipper of
and he
God and
limited
you've made him
himself.
into a God.
The
That's why
persona.
we're discussing this. You are
Mansur, you asked a
insulting.
question. Let me answer.
Before you answer, do you know
That's
my
what you
question?
are
Where
talking
is the
about.
Do you know my
You
question?
said the infinite God becoming stop to being infinite by
I said,
manifesting in earth.
when, in your belief, when the infinite incarnated into a finite body, was it still infinite?
He's
Simple.
still infinite God out of. That's what I say. You have to make the distinction between this infinite God out of
Heaven.
creation and his manifestation in creation. His manifestation in creation is finite.
Finite.
So same thing,
That's
it's
what
infinite and
I'm telling you.
finite.
So that's what you said. A persona.
There's God
my-
and
my
there's
sister,
Jesus.
You be
A
back.
You
persona
don't
is the
want to
aspect
see
of
Jesus, and you
someone's
know there's
character
Jesus in the
that
Quran.
is
But
presented
you're
or
refusing to
perceived by
accept.
others.
That's what we're talking
The
about. You want
aspect
to
of
mix them
someone's
up, and that's not
character
right.
that is presented
That's not why
or
for
perceived by
characters.
others. So
So
that's what I
what
was
just
telling
like
you.
we
This
say,
infinite
so
God
God remained,
manifested
Jesus
in the
came in
human
finite
body.
is like
We're not
projecting
moving
his aspects, some of his aspects
What aspects?
in the finite. That's what we call the world.
The
His world.
infinite, when he projects into a finite body, his infinite knowledge is in there or not?
His infinite knowledge in the body, in the finite on earth.
No.
That
What
it
happened
would
to
be
his
a
infinite
logical
knowledge?
contradiction.
So where is his infinite knowledge now? Where is it?
Is still in an infinite.
But when the Son of God came down, was he still in heaven?
You just said the Son of God came down, and you're asking if it's
No, it's God's still.
I'm asking you to clarify. So now you have the divine Son, he's not up there, he's here. So when he's here in a human body, So he possessed the infinite knowledge within the human body,
I
right?
just answered that question. It would be a logical contradiction if Jesus said that he knows the hour, because this hour is out of time.
What I am saying,
It is
listen,
infinite.
Rafael,
Also,
Rafael,
it is an
Rafael,
infinite.
Rafael, listen.
I
The
explained
divine,
that
the divine.
20 minutes before.
You're not listening.
20 minutes before I
Listen,
explained that.
I think
said
you
to
claim
you
you
it
think I'm
wasn't.
not listening, but I'm quite
Are you
positive
sure
you're
you
not
listened?
listening.
Okay. What did I say 20 minutes before?
Listen what I'm
before you
saying,
start?
listen what I'm saying.
No, what did I say 20 minutes before?
Excuse me, please, listen.
What did I say 20
Please. I asked for a clarification. Did the divine son come to this earth?
Yes.
The answer is?
Yeah, it's
Good.
Yes.
So the divine son is no longer up there, it's on here. When the divine son is here on earth, at the time when there was a human Jesus, was the divine knowledge present within the vicinity
The divine knowledge
of the son?
of the Son,
Yeah.
the divine knowledge, when you say the divine knowledge, you need to make a distinction between the divine knowledge of the infinite reality God or the knowledge of Jesus, the
Not the human,
manifestation,
not the human.
the manifestation in the finite.
Not the human. Remember.
We make the distinction.
Look,
It's
look.
very important for you to make the distinction.
Did you
because there's
even
an infinite,
did you even follow my
a
question through?
manifesting.
Did you even follow my question?
Your question has two aspects. You want me to say that the infinite reality God knowledge is in Jesus,
No.
and I already
No.
explained that.
No, you've
So
misunderstood.
you are trying to twist
no, I
the
misunderstood.
question to
So
make
I'm
it
going to now
different.
ask
I
everyone to
explained
listen.
that.
No, you've misunderstood altogether.
Go ahead.
The human body is it eternal or a created of Jesus?
Say what?
The body that Jesus Christ, the human, possessed.
He is
Is
created in
this a
flesh.
created thing or
He's
uncreated?
flesh.
Good. A created thing is there 2,000 years ago roughly on this earth. When the divine son, in your belief, incarnates, meaning he comes down and incarnates within this created body, obviously my question to you is this. The divine son is all knowledgeable. He's not up there, he's now here. What happened to the knowledge of the divine son within the vicinity of the human body?
So
God
it's a
decided equal to
my,
give it up with God.
my
So
sister,
we're
my
looking
sister,
all
my,
around.
it's going well. But let me answer, because when you stop, you just when you start speaking, you just contribute to
You know why I
confusion.
use the word vicinity,
Okay.
not within the
let me.
flesh.
I already answered that, but you want clarification. Okay. I said
Answer, but I want someone else to see whether this question is answered.
the infinite.